Welcome to this video on the BowTie method. My name is Alex de Ruiter and I'm the product manager for BowTie XP. BowTie XP is a risk assessment software tool that visualizes complex risks in an understandable diagram. It follows the BowTie methodology for risk assessment, which allows you to structure your thinking and uncover holes in your risk management. In this video, I'll introduce the BowTie concept and how it is used in the BowTie XP software. I've opened up an example about driving a car, and what you see right now on the screen is the starting point for any BowTie. The hazard above, which is in the black and yellow striped box, together with the top event, which is in the orange circle below. The hazard can be described as a dangerous aspect of your organization. So if I'm, for instance, typing a letter on a computer, this would not be considered a dangerous aspect of the organization. But if I'm driving on a highway, that would be considered hazardous. And although an organization needs hazards to operate, they are the source for incidents. So the hazard in this example is driving a car, although you could specify it more if necessary. Now below it is a top event, and the top event is the first moment you lose control over the hazard. We haven't hit anything yet and there's no damage, but we have lost control. In this case, the generic wording loss of control over car works quite well. If you're not sure how to formulate the top event, you could always start with a generic loss of control description and later on specify more if necessary. Now from here I want to know what will cause the top event. Now these blue boxes on the left are called threats, and they represent different scenarios that will cause my top event. One of the possibilities, for instance, is that the driver is intoxicated, which could cause a loss of control. Another threat, however, could be slippery road conditions, which might also cause a loss of control over the car. On the right side there are red boxes, which are called consequences. There can be different consequences resulting from a single top event. One could be, for instance, hitting a pedestrian, another could be entering the water, or even a car rollover. Together with the threats, this is what the BowTie looks like so far. BowTie XP gives me a clear overview of all the different scenarios that could unfold around driving a car. It could be that the road condition is slippery, causing a driver to lose control over his car and hit a pedestrian. Another scenario could be that a driver is intoxicated, causing him to lose control over the car and drive into the water. The combinations of all these threats and consequences give you an overview of the possible incidents that might occur. Some of them could already have happened and some might not. One of the benefits of the BowTie method is that it includes all credible scenarios, not only the incidents that have already happened, which allows you to be truly proactive in managing risks. After you have identified these scenarios in BowTie XP, you start adding barriers, which are whatever the organization does to prevent these unwanted scenarios from unfolding. In the case of slippery road conditions, a driver could postpone his driving based on the weather report, which is one barrier. If he does go out, defensive driving will help prevent a loss of control over his car, which is the second barrier. The anti-lock braking system is the last line of defense, and if this barrier also fails, we lose control over the car. There are also barriers on the right hand side, and these barriers aim at recovering from or mitigating a loss of control before more serious consequences occur. So far, the BowTie diagram has given me an overview of all the unwanted scenarios and how I plan to prevent those scenarios by adding barriers. However, no barrier is perfect. There are holes in any barrier, either because the barrier isn't adequate for a scenario or because the reliability is lacking. The BowTie method allows you to identify factors which will create these holes in your barriers, making them less effective. These are called escalation factors. For example, if one of my barriers is a secure door which closes automatically using electricity, a power failure will disable this barrier. So we can add an escalation factor called power failure to the barrier's security door. Escalation factors will allow you to take your risk assessment one step further and make explicit how barriers can fail. Of course, there's one logical last step, which is to add barriers to escalation factors. So in the case of a power failure, a backup generator could be a good escalation factor barrier. This is the core of the BowTie method. It gives you a visual diagram which summarizes all the unwanted scenarios and how you control them as an organization. Now there is more that you can add to the diagram, like your safety management system, barrier effectiveness, barrier type, and for instance who is responsible for a barrier. But that will all be explained in another video. Thank you for watching this video, and if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us.